last week we talked about row context, which we talked about the meaning of row context to be anything that has to do with row by row evaluation. Like this, when you create a calculated column in a table, that is row context has happened because of it will evaluate the DAX expression on a row by row basis. And also we explored iterators like the sum x, count x, average x, and the rest. So today we are going to explore another part, which is the filter context. Now, when we say filter context, it has to do with any set of filters that we apply to any calculation, right? Whether it is automatic or it is explicit, right? So any filters that we apply to any calculation like this, that is our measures, right? Is filter context. It means that we have applied filter context, or that context has actually occurred. Right? Anytime we apply filter, it doesn't matter whether we apply the filter on a visual, whether it's on a report page, whether we are even applying the filter on the entire report, whether it is in our DAX expression that we are applying the filter, right? So anywhere we apply filter, whether it's in the DAX expression or whether it's on a page or visual or whatever, we can say filter context has happened. Is that clear to us, guys? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
sir.
So we are going to
Yes,
try out
sir.
one or two things to make you understand what we mean by filter context. So let's start. So let's say I already have some calculations here. I have my total sales, for example. So let me bring that in here. Now, let me put it on a card chart. Now, I'm seeing 70 million, right? 70 million for my total sales, right? Now, when we're in Power Query, cleaning our data and the rest, and let's say we apply the filter to one of our tables. Maybe we wanted to limit the number of rows, right? Uh, with that, we can say that there's already a filter context applied on that table because we applied a filter from our transformation before bringing the data inside of Power BI desktop, right? Because there's already the filter context applied on that table. Now, the result that you will see in your Power BI desktop is any like what I mean is when you write a measure, do a calculation, the results that your expression will produce for you is based on the current filter context applied to the tables that you are bringing inside of Power BI desktop from your Power Query, right? So this 70 million now that I'm seeing here as my total sales is based on the current filter context applied on the sales table. Is that understood? Now, this is the result of the total sales from the entire sales table that I have in this my data model. Now, the 70 million is a lot of what I have. Now, if you say 70 million is based on the current filter context that is applied on the table, perfect. That one is clear to us, I believe. Now, if I want to apply a filter, I can apply a filter by maybe come to the filters here, for example. Maybe I want this total sales in this my card chart to just be limited to maybe a particular ship mode. I can drag the ship mode name from the ship mode table here and drag it inside of under the filters on this visual, right? Now, when I put it on filters on this visual, you will see that it gave me a list of all the ship mode that I have in the ship mode table. And the reason why this filter if I click on anyone here, the reason why this filter will apply to the result that is displaying in this my card chart is because there is a relationship between the ship mode table and the sales table, right? That is why this filter will definitely apply. The filter context is going to apply to this my card charts because of the what? Or because there's a relationship between the two tables. So if I come here now and I click on first class, it's showing blank. If I come to same day, it's showing what? It's showing what? 70 million. Second class, if I uncheck these two, and second class is showing blank. Standard class is showing blank. Are you serious? Let me go back and check this data. Is it possible that the other ship modes don't have? any, what's it called? Let me go to my data table and go to my sales. And let me go to ship mode ID. But why do I have only 4? Aha. Let me go and check my transformation. Maybe I think I did the query parameter. Yeah, because I was wondering, aha, that's why I'm saying only imagine. So you see what I'm just saying now, that there is a filter context that has been applied to the sales table by the virtue of the parameter, even before bringing it to Power BI desktop, before adding it to my data model. Aha, that's what I was just explaining now. So I remove the parameter. So it means that every result that I see here, this 70 million, anything I do here, any visual I build, any expression that I write here, all the answers will be based on ship mode 4. Do you understand what is going on here? Do you understand, guys? All the numbers, figures that I'm going to be seeing, whether I do my total sales, or whether I do my total customers, or whether I do blah blah blah, anything I do, I'll be seeing the results only based on ship mode 4, because that is the filter I have applied by the virtue of parameter in my Power Query. Is it clear now? If I remove the parameter now, or if I disconnect the parameter from the sales table, let me go to the sales table now, right? Let me look for where I use the parameter. Aha, ship mode ID.
Mr. Gbenga.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you don't actually need to even remove it. Go back to Power BI. You can change the filter you can change the parameter from the front end.
So yeah, I know. I was just using that to explore the reason why I was having 4. I know.
Okay.
I can go to modeling here, go to new parameter, and sorry, go to, where is this F? Is it under view? Should be under modeling now.
No, under home.
No, it's under transform. Sorry, edit parameter here and change it. But the issue is, if I leave it empty, okay, let's see. You see, I have to put something. Do you understand? The whole on show.
Yeah, I get.
I have to choose any of the 4.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is that if I want to see the entire ship mode 1 to 4, I have to disconnect that parameter from the sales table. So it's not going to be filtering that table at all again. So this was where I applied the parameter under this transformation step here that I see. You see, I applied filtered rows, and I said ship mode filter should apply. Ship mode filter should apply. That's the parameter that I created. So I can come here, but don't let me disconnect yet, Sha. We can still come back again and do that. So let's say I'm not using the ship mode. Let me use another one. Since I already use ship mode as my parameter, let me use another. Maybe let me use a product. Let me use the product name. Right? Aha, you see so many products that are here. So if I click on one here, it means that the result I want to see is based on whatever product name that I'm selecting. So the result has been filtered down. The result you are seeing in the card chart here has been filtered down only to the value selected in the filter here. Is that clear? So that is one way we can apply filter context to our DAX expressions. Is it clear, guys? Please let me know if it's not clear to you.
It's clear, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now that you see that we can apply filter on the visual, we can also apply a filter on the what's it called? We can apply filter on the page. So it means that whatever we so let me copy and paste this one and bring in another measure. So I have maximum sales. Oh, sorry, I have to remove it from here first. So I have maximum sales 8,000. So now I bring in postal code to filter on this page. So it means that any value I select here Let me go back to basic. Any value I select here in the postal code, the result will filter down only to that particular postal code, right? The result will filter down to only that particular postal code alone, right? So the first one was I applied filter on just one visual. The second one is I applied filter on the entire page. So it means that if you bring in 6, 7 visuals, all the results you are going to be seeing that it will display, it will be based on only what you have selected in your in this your filters that you have on your right side, the under filters, right? You can also apply filter on all the pages. It means that for the entire report, right? If you apply, so if I apply a filter here now, maybe I bring recategory, I bring recategory, I drop it under filter on all pages. Why is it not dragging? Okay, so I put it under here. Category 1, you see the results. Category 2, you see the results. Category 3, you see. So it's going to limit the results to only what the filter I have applied, right? So if you create so many report pages, you have like 6, 7, 8 report pages here. You can, when you apply filter on all, it will apply to all the pages. Now, apart from this, we can also apply filter to in our DAX expression, right? Guess what we call evaluation context. And under that, we have row context, filter context, and context transition. The one we talked about last week was row context, the row by row evaluation. The one for today is filter context that talks about when you apply filter, whether in your DAX expression or whether on visual or on a page or all the report pages, right? Now, when we now say context transition, that one is when the row value now becomes the column filter. But I will explain that, right? I don't want to talk about filter context alone today. When we come next week, we'll talk about context transition, right? How we can use iterator at the same time with values, to bring out a result, right? To evaluate results from two different tables and give the result on another table, or probably what you will see is that um, tables that are related, right? Yes, but you can now write the DAX expression in such a way that what is supposed to be the row value is now also serving as the column filter. And you can now still even manipulate the level of granularity of your results based on exactly what you want the results to display or what you want your expression to display, right? That is context transition, right? So now, what I know we are all used to using calculate, but sometimes we don't know that calculate is a very powerful DAX function, right? It does a lot of things, right? Now, calculate can do row context, calculate can do filter context, calculate can also do context transition, right? Let me give you an instance for you to understand what I mean by what I'm saying, so that I'm not just saying what I'm saying, right? So you see that on this sales table now, we have the sales column, right? And there's a sales value for each of the row. Every row has its own sales value. Now, I can create an additional column. Let me just call this column, let me say new column. I'll go to new column here. And let me just call it sales 2, just to show you what I'm saying. Because I already have one column called sales there. Sales 2, I will now say sum, give me the sum of the sales column. Sum of this same sales column, this same sales table, give me the sum of the sales column in this sales table. Now, when I press enter, what will happen is that you will see that it's giving me the sum of sales for the entire sales column here, for all the rows. It's returning the same thing. It's not recognizing that it should calculate it for me row by row, right? So what you will be expecting is that when I talk about row context, is that you felt maybe okay, it's going to give you the results, going to return the same thing row by row, right? But it won't do that because it's not respecting the filters that are on each row. It's not evaluating on a row by row basis, right? But where you will now know that this function called calculate is powerful is that when I put calculate in front of my sales, sum of sales column in sales table, in front of this, and I close the bracket and I press enter, is now going to do a row by row evaluation now. You see that is returning, you see now 10.368. What do I have here? 10.368. So it's now giving me what it's supposed to give me, a row by row evaluation to return for me the same sales figure for each row in this table. And it was the reason why I'm not seeing the same number for all the rows is because I've added calculate in front of my expression, right? So calculate is very powerful for both row context, filter context, and even context transition, right? And even what context transition, because it's giving you this result now based on the values or the information that pertains to each individual row. Please give me a second there, guys. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So that is for you to know how powerful the calculate function works. What I'm doing now might not make sense to you, but by the time we get to context transition, now you understand the reason why calculate is very, very interesting when it comes to filter context and context transition. Let's go ahead. So now that you've had the function, now let's now say that I want to write a DAX expression. That I can say new measure and go to new measure here. And I will call this measure um I'm looking for something I can let me cancel and come back. I want to look at something here. Let me go to more of the tables here and let me go to products. Let me look at the product table. Let me use this product. Let me look for another one that is, I can easily customer. This customer too has I think postal code has something like that. No, the category. The category is category ID is either 1, 2, or 3. Good. So let me now go back and write a DAX expression now. So I would say new measure, and I will call it recategory 1 sales. Recategory 1 sales. So this sales is only limited to, so I want the result to only display. I already know that the entire sales, the sum of sales for my table is 70 million. But don't forget that even this sum of sales is still based on ship mode 4 alone. So there's already a current a filter context that has been applied to the table itself already. Now, the category 1 sales is now be equals to calculate total sales I already have as an expression, or I can just go back and do sum of, whether I do sum of sales in sales table or whether I call out the measure again is the same thing, right? Total sales, right? And now say filter the recategory table, right? I only want the recategory ID when it's equals to 1, right? So it means that it will filter my results down to only recategory 1, right? So now, if I'm going to explain this to my stakeholder, right? What will I tell my stakeholder? I will tell my stakeholder that I'm coming on. That this category 1 sales is showing 10 million. Good. This my the category 1 sales is the sales value I'm seeing here. Two filters have been applied. I've applied 2 filters. The result I'm seeing here is based on ship mode 4 and the category 1. Do you understand? The total sales here is based on ship mode 4 alone. The maximum sales here is based on ship mode 4. But for this category 1 sales, based on ship mode 4, category 1. Please, is it making sense, guys? Filter context. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That your Victoria, that your yes sir is I don't know. Sasif is clear, it's clear.
Please, can you come again, sir?
I'm saying that the result of this 10 million I are seeing here, you know, when I was writing the DAX expression, what did I say? I said give me total sales, filter it down to only what? The category 1. But the table that I'm bringing this from, that I'm referencing, which is my sales table, before it even goes to the data model, I've already applied the filter to only bring in sales data based on ship mode 4 alone. So I'm saying that the filter context applied here is that the 10 million you are seeing here is a result of 2 filters, ship mode 4 and the category 1. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
that when
sir.
you're talking to your stakeholders, you let them know
Understood.
that the 10 million you are seeing here is not the 10 million total sales. It's not the only filter applied here is not just the category equals 1 alone. There was a filter context that was applied to the table itself before loading it to the Power BI desktop, before loading it to your data model, right? So that is calculate, filter on a visual, filter on the report page, filter on all report pages, and calculate, right? So that is that. Now, so there are different ways you can apply filter. In fact, in this your calculate, you can even apply more than one filter. You can say I want total sales for the category 1 for postal code this, when postal code is equals to this, when customer is equals to. So you can apply as many filters as possible in your DAX expression. But one thing I want you to just know is that if you apply a lot of filters, you know, for every expression, for every visual, for every update, it's going to, a query is going to go back to the source. Although there's what we call caching anyway. Maybe we'll talk about that later. It's what we call caching. That is Power BI desktop storing the result of your query. So that at every time, it's not all the time that it's going to go back to the source to go and do a recalculation of your results. Right? Power BI desktop is storing part of that query that is telling the source to give a result. That is the DAX, what they call the DAX engine. Right? So it's not every time that it's going there. So it's catching part of your queries. That is why when you click on refresh sometimes, you easily see your visual updated. It's because of the catching. If it's not catching, it means that it has to go every time you do a refresh, it has to always go back to the source to retrieve the results. Right? To retrieve the results. Okay. So now let's not talk about context transition. But today we are not going deep into it anyway. Was just for me to show you an example of how we can apply context transition, or how context transition happens inside of our Power BI desktop. So let's go to I'm on my table view. Now we have the category table. Don't forget that in your model view, your category table and your sales table are connected on a one-to-many relationship, right? Now, if I go to my category table, let's say I want to create a column, and I want that column to give me, I want to see the sales value for each category in this table. Let me ask somebody here. How would you have approached it if you were the one? You want to get the sales value for category 1, 2, and 3 as a column in this table. Can somebody try? Can somebody try? Anybody? Where are all the agbas in this class? I want to return a column called sales in this category, in this the category table, right? And I want what I want is I want to give me the result. Like I want it to return the sales value for each row in this table. And don't forget that my total sales is to come from the sales table. So guys, how will I go about it? Should I just go ahead?
I think, Mr. Gwenga, I think you can use maybe related
Okay.
table.
You can use what,
Without,
sir?
you can use related table
Related
function.
table. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. That's 1/2. Any other person? Any suggestion? Okay. Yeah, no, let's just go ahead. So I'll click on new column. Click on new column. See, one thing about this context transition is that if you don't go back after this class to do personal practice on your own, you might not really understand it. I'm saying for those that don't know it, I'm not saying for everybody. Aha. Some people are here. I know you're already good with all these things. They're just here to watch. If you don't go back and practice it and understand the meaning of context transition, you know. So when a row value now becomes a column filter, let's go. So I'll say sales inside this table. I'm in my category table now, right? Now I will now use some X. Now I know you might ask me that why am I using some X? Don't forget that when we talked about iterators last week, that we said that iterator we go to the table and evaluate the results row by row before giving you a final aggregation. Before finally aggregating your results, right? So what this will do is that when I put this sum X now, it means that because the tables are related to each other, the category table and the sales table, I want it to go to my sales table. Go and calculate for me row by row the sales values. And based on the relationship between the tables, the category table and sales table, return for me the value of the different categories per row that I have in this category table, right? So I'll say sum X. Now it's asked me for the table, right? Now this is where I will now use related table. Now you use related table on the one side of the relationship. The category is on the one side of the relationship. Sales table is on the many side of the relationship. Don't forget that. You use related table on the one side because you want to do an expression that will return the sum of sales for each category in this category table. You can't just call out the sales table like that just because the two of them are related. You have to use the function called related table to let the expression understand that you want to write an expression that will relate to the table connected to the category table, right? So I'm using related table, and the table that I'm relating with is my sales table, right? I'm saying sum X, go to my sales table, evaluate row by row my total sales value based on the relationship between the category table and my sales table. That's why I use related table here. And I'll now say, see what will happen now. I will now say sum of what? Sum of sales in my sales table. Here's my sales table. Aha. And I will close the bracket. Now, what if I even tell you that what I just did here is not still correct? I will now tell you where calculate now does the wonders. So I'll click on enter. Truly, I'm seeing a result. It's showing me some figures. Let me apply a comma. Let me apply comma. It's giving me some values there, right? 41 million here, 15 million here, 12 million here. But do you know that the figures I have here, it's not even correct. It's not even correct. Because what? It's not evaluating, it's evaluating on a although it's evaluating on a row by row basis, which is good. But it is not filtering down my results. My result is not how will I say it? Uh uh this my evaluation is not based on is not applying it like it's not giving me the results. It's not applying the proper filter, the proper filter that is meant to apply for me. Right? So for me to get the actual result, for me to get the actual sales figure, okay, let's even stop here. Let's do something. Let's do something, guys. Let me go back to my what's it called here. Let me bring in a table. This evaluates that whether we are correct or not. Let me bring a table in, and let me now bring the category. What's it called? Let me bring it to the category, and let me bring in total sales. See what we are seeing here. 489, 1 million something 58. What am I saying, sir? This one is 5 million. This one is uh I don't understand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 1 billion something. And this one is 489. No, this one is 4 million. What am I saying, Zevo? 4,489,004 something. Okay. That's total sales, Abi. Let me drag in, let me do a measure that is implicit. So let me bring in the sales, the sales column from. Okay, I think the two are different. Wow, wait, how did we get total sales? Let me go back and check my expression. That have not made a mistake somewhere. Oh, we multiply them unit selling price by quantity. Please, somebody is making noise. Can you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Okay, we multiplied. That was how we got. So it's different from. Oh, I get now. I get now. What about this total sales here? Total sales too. We did the same thing. So I cannot use this sum of. I cannot use this one then. Let me go back to my sales table and remove this one. So let me just drag in this one. Let me apply a comma. Sorry, I'm coming, guys. I'm trying to see that what I'm doing is correct. Just hold on. So this is my total sales by category. Let me now go back to that table. Am I seeing the same results? No. Although I used, okay, so let me just call in the total sales measure. Total sales. Okay, I think I understand what I'm doing now. So, you see that even though I put in the measure here, my total sales measure, which is what I did also here, as sum of the 70 million plus. But in the table here, when I put the total sales here, it's not giving me the correct. I'm saying 60,000, 39,000, and that's not the same thing that I have here, right? So what I'm going to do is let me put calculate in front of my total sales measure, right? And press enter. Okay, it's giving me the same result. Where did I make mistake? It's supposed to give me this same result. Just hold on, guys.
You said related table is supposed to be applies to the one side of the model.
Of relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I see you putting sales in it.
I'm on the category table, sir. Do you understand what I'm doing?
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I still don't
I'm
understand because
related. I'm calling the sales table. I'm on the category table.
okay,
Do you understand?
I don't.
How will I explain again to you? I want to return the sales value for each category in this table, right? But I cannot just go and do sum of sales like that, and it should just respect the filter I have on this table based on the different rows, right? I have to call out the table
Yes, sir.
that is related to this category table, which is the sales table, where the result of the sales I want to
Okay.
bring out is coming from.
Okay. Okay.
Do you understand it now? That was why I
Yes, sir.
called. That was why I brought out. I used related table to let it know that the result that I want to see is from the sales table, and it's based on the relationship between the category table and the sales table. Is it clear to you now?
Mm. Yes, sir.
If it's not clear, Mr. Jami, let me know.
Yeah, it is. It is clear.
Okay. So
Thank
now,
you, sir.
what I want you to do for me is I want you to multiply. I want you to multiply quantity and units selling price. Okay. And I press enter. Okay. So what I'm now going to do now is I'm coming. I don't know where I'm making this mistake. Oh. Say calculate. Okay. I've already applied some X at the beginning. This doesn't make any sense to me, sincerely. Some X sales this. I hope I'm not what I'm doing like this. I'm coming up. No, this is not what I want. If I put calculate in front of it and go. Ah, something is not right. Oh.
Sorry.
Guys, just
What are
give
you
me a
saying?
minute, please. Let
Sorry.
me cancel. Let me cancel. Just give me a minute. So this is what we are going to do. So let's go back. Let's go back. Instead of using the multiplied one units, we already have a sales column there before in our sales table. So let me just bring down one here. So let's assume that these are our sales now. So I want you to return the same value, right? In this place. So I'm going to say later table sales, then sales and sales column, and I press enter. Aha. Okay, let me now compare now. 29,000, 39, and 60,000. Exactly. This is exactly what I want to do. Sorry. The reason why I'm having you is because I'm using two, I have two different total sales. I have one that is based on units price times quantity. There's another one that is just the sum of the sales column I have in the sales table. So sorry for that confusion. But what I'm trying to do here is this. I'm trying to return the total sales for each category inside of the table, just like we have inside this table here in our charts, right? But I want to do it now on the table, not on a chart. I want to have the result on a table like this. So the sum X that you are seeing here, what it will do is that it will go to the sales table and do a row by row evaluation. That's why we call it iterator, right? Now give me the sum of sales, the sum X, that means the sum of whatever result it is that is evaluating in the sales table based on the relationship that is between the sales table and the category table, right? And based on the sales column that is in the sales table. It should return the sales figure for me per each category. Is it clear to us now, guys? Sorry for the confusion. Is it clear to now? Another thing is that I don't even need to go through all of this wahala. Let me call this one now sales one example. Sales one example. You're going to get the same result. We'll see what I'm going to do. I'll say equals to. If I do a sum, if I do a sum of the sales column in the sales table on this table and I close brackets, it will give me the total of these three for each row. So it's not filtering it down to the proper filter context. It's not applying the proper filter context to see that it's returning the same thing for each row. But if I now had a calculate in front of it, like this, in front of that expression, and I press enter, it will now, transition it to the proper filter context. It will give me the 29,000 for the category 1, 39,000 for the category 2, and 60,000 for the category 3. So when a row value, this is the row value here, now becomes a filter context. Oh, sorry, now becomes a filter, a column filter, sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. So the row value here is the row value here. When the row value now becomes a what? A column filter, that's when context transition has occurred. And calculates an iterator function is they are the two things that can help us achieve, or let me say an example of two things that can help us achieve context transition. I'm seeing the result of sales in this table, right? Even though I'm not on the sales table, I'm on the category table, which is a dimension table, but I'm seeing the sales figures for each row because the two has a relationship between them. And I'm using an iterator together with related table to return the sales figures for each row in this table. I've come to the end of my class today. Is it clear? Any comments, any minus, any subtraction, any?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Kafayat.
Yes, sir. I said I don't know, but I don't look at it. Can't we achieve this using group by or summarize?
Sorry?
I mean, can we use summarize to achieve this like the idea behind these
Summarize. Is that not for creating calculated table?
yes.
I don't know how summarize work in this
Not really.
context. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. But this one is like my own perfect example.
Okay.
Using calculate to transition it to the the actual filter context that is supposed to be, or using iterator and related table. It's all about transitioning it to the proper filter context. That is context transition, right? You want to see a result on another table based on so it's based on an evaluation from another related table. Do you understand, Gafayat?
Yes, sir. So I think I just need to. I'll watch the video. And I think I'll get
Okay.
it to get better because I was thinking maybe the aggregation will work instead of this back and forth.
Any other question, guys? So summarize cannot do transition. I just did a little research now. After is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Olubumi, talk now.
Hello, sir. Sorry, you said the related should be used on one-sided.
One side of the
want to
relationship.
understand. Yes, because we didn't check the model and we're not sure if the
You don't need to
category is
check it now.
one side and
It's a dimension table. They are always the one side of the relationship now.
Okay, sir. All right. I just want to clarify.
It's not for us to check model. We already know that any table that is dimension table is already on the one side. The fact table is the many side. Any other question? Jamie, is it clear to you?
Yes, sir, it is.
Or what I'm teaching, is it different from what you already know before?
No.
Okay. Is there anywhere I confused you?
Fine.
Mukulade. Usama, gifts.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I'm
I said,
clear.
is it clear? You are clear. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's clear. I understand.
Okay. Don't know whether time will permit us. So I would have wanted us to do something before we go, so that we have something that we can watch and practice before we meet again to talk about context transition in details next week Sunday. So let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say when I make context transition. That is when a row context becomes a filter context, or when a row value becomes the column filter. You can read more on filter context anyway from YouTube, but they might want to confuse you, but don't be confused. You stand up, Gidigba, and say, I will not be confused. So let's do this one before I go. Let me now show you this one. Another way that context transition can happen. You know that we have some of sales here, right? Which is 39,000 for. Let me even expand this thing. Let me make it bigger. So am I doing the right thing? Okay, I think it's bigger. Can you see it clearly now, guys?
Okay, sir.
It's bigger. Let's now say I want to do something here. I want to, that the filter context applied here is on a row by row basis. Like when I brought my column, I dragged inside this table. It's filtered down the result of the value for sales based on each category, Abi. Now, I can modify or manipulate my expression to change the level of granularity of my results. So my results now is based on each category. So the filter applied here is the category. Is the category like the category 01, 02, 03. I can now manipulate or tell my expression in a way that the result I'm seeing is based on I've changed my level of granularity from just that filter applied alone, and I've applied another level of granularity to my result. So let me tell you what I'm saying. So I can write another expression like this. I'll say new measure. I will now say highest sold, highest sold with a category. The highest, like for all the sales transaction I have in my sales table, what is the highest amount that they've ever sold for this three category that I have here? Let me come again. I know I have my sum of sales here, which is sum of all the sales value for each different category. But I want to know what is the highest value. Highest value. How will I explain this thing? Huh? What is the highest sales amount in whether in a
What is
year, whether
what
in a month, whether in a week, whether in a day? What is the highest sales amount per transaction or per each different oh God, how English they hard like this? Especially they hard like this. Let's just break it down to only a year. So how many let me enter this and I will come back to it. So let me go to my calendar table. Where's my date table? Oh, we don't done date table yet. Are you serious? Are you serious? I thought we had a date table. Okay, let's now do it per customer. Let's now say per customer. So we now say what we want to do is that per each different category, we want to know the highest amount that the customer has spent in the three different categories that we have. The highest sales amount that a customer has spent or that have paid or whatever you call it in English for these three different categories. So now we are now changing the level of granularity from just giving us the total sales for each the category now. We are now saying the highest amount that a customer has spent in every category. So I cannot go to my DAX here now and say new measure. That's why I'm talking about context transition. We see how interesting it is now. Oh, I already have a measure that I created. Sorry, let me go back to the measure again. Highest sold, highest sold in the category per customer. Per customer. I will now say, I'll still use my sum x, my iterator, right? I'll use my iterator, and I will now use values. So what value? I will tell you what these values is doing. So I will say customer. I'll use customer ID, right? That is, I want to know the highest amount that for all the customers, the highest amount they've ever spent in a category, right? And I will also say calculate. I will explain my expression for you. I'm not just writing it without explanation. I will now say sum of the sales, what's it called? The sales column in the sales table. Good. Now let me explain let me try and maybe I can expand this thing. You can see clearly. So I'm saying go to the sales table, sum X, do a sum of the sales column in the sales table. Give me, I'm supposed to use max X. So sorry. It's supposed to be max X. Sorry, not sum X. Because I'm looking for the maximum amount they spent. Sorry. So I'm saying go to the sales table, evaluate row by row. Give me a sum of what each customer has bought. Right? Like, okay, so it's going to evaluate this. Let me come again. It's going to evaluate the sales table. So what is doing at the back end is that It's giving you, there's a list of customers, and there is each category. It will now give you the highest amount that any of the customers have spent per each category. In fact, you can even say highest that they've spent on a product in a category. But this one is highest that a customer, each customer, like we have a customer list, right, in a customer table, the highest that they've ever spent in a category. Now, what this value is doing is the values customer ID here. What that is doing is that is giving you a list. You know, we have unique and we have values in our DAX functions. So to give you a list of all the customers, right? It's the max X here is to give you the maximum sales amount per customer based on what we have in the sales table, based on the sales column inside of the sales table. The reason why I'm using calculate in front of my expression, you know, I could have just written my normal sales, some sales in sales column in sales table. I could have just done that normally, right? But I'm putting calculate so that it can transition, it can understand, it can transition it to the proper filter context that I want my result to be based on. Now I'll press enter. Let me now drag in this here. So you see that it's not giving me the result. I have of my result, of my answer. I have changed the level of granularity to be based on the highest that a customer has spent in each of. So you see that the highest that a customer has spent in this different category, for the category 1 is 2,000 plus, the category 2 is 1,000 plus, the category is 7. So it's what it's doing for you at the back end is that it will create a table that you will not see. That's the logic. A table that you will not see at the back end. It will list all the customers. It will list all the category and all the sales amounts for each category per customer, and to return the highest amount for each category that the customer has spent in that category. So we can also do it for if you want to know the highest amount that was spent on products, right, per category, per product, right? We can apply it into postal code or to anything. So the category 1, 2, 3 that is a row value is now serving as the column filter. Is now what we are using to filter the results in this column, in this table. Does it make sense to us, guys?
Very, very clear now.
Very, very clear to you now. Thank you. So there's not how you say you know DAX. If you don't understand evaluation context, then you don't know DAX, because DAX is all about row context, filter context, and context transition. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we can stop here for today, so that people can go and sleep, prepare for work tomorrow. I will put the video for like 2 videos now. I will upload everything today. Or latest, before you wake up tomorrow morning, you see all the videos updated on the playlist. Thank you, everyone. See you next week, Sunday. Have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
you.